Welcome back to the Thermo podcast. I'm your co-host today, Jayton Miller, and I'm here with Mr. Christopher Walker. How you doing today?
Pretty good. What's up, everyone?
So today we're going to go over some tips for quarantine since it looks like that there might be another possible lockdown.
Yeah, we figured this would be a timely podcast to give some tips, like look at what we learned from last quarantine. So when quarantine 2.0 hits, which seems inevitable at this point, maybe you guys, can do it a little better this time. I know I'm going to do things differently slightly. So we can talk about that stuff and hopefully give you guys some helpful insights into how to think about this coming quarantine 2. We're doing this now, especially because it looks like you see, there are articles from all over the world where they're starting to lock down again in other countries, especially countries that locked down early, where it was interesting because everyone was pointing to certain ones like Argentina, where they were like, oh, they locked down early and that's why COVID cases didn't spike. But now it seems like they just got like a late spike because people started being, more loose about it over time. And it's hard to even trust any of the data anyways, but the reality is there that it looks like the lockdown's coming, and Denver just moved to code orange. It looks like they're probably going to be closing the gyms, and we're here in Boulder. A lot of the team lives in Denver, so Boulder looks like it's probably going to follow suit pretty quickly, especially because they're reporting spikes in COVID cases. And it looked like the college here just canceled spring break.
Wow.
So, which I don't know. I wonder what that would do. Like, now you just keep the kids around the whole time.
I wonder if they would end the semester like a week early or something.
Yeah. That'd be nice. It's a little bargain.
Yeah.
Be good for them. But yeah, so what would you do differently based on, like, if we have to stay at home? If they do a stay-at-home order?
Yeah. One of the things that I did was I increased my reading, which was good, but I also wish that I would have redirected my attention to developing more new skills. So I'll probably focus on that a little bit more, especially if I'm going to be locked away in my apartment. I think I need to use that effectively.
Yeah. It is a good time if you're just stuck sitting at home. Like, it's good to direct the energy into not just like watching TV all day or working all day. Have a work schedule. I think that's an important thing, is like when you're working, try to keep a normal work schedule so you have some sense of normalcy. And then when you're done, work on something fun. Like, if you want to learn how to play the guitar or new skills, like you mentioned, other things, could be music, could be art, read books, just probably not sitting in front of the TV the whole time would be good.
Another thing that I did was meditation. So like I got I think it was FitMind. It was a FitMind app, and they have like a 30-day free trial, and I highly recommend it. The guy's actually based over in Denver who made the app, and it's based completely on neuroscience, and I like it a lot. There's a lot of different like Stoic philosophies that he tends to practice within that and stuff. So it's basically just 5 to 30 minutes of guided meditation throughout a 30-day period, and it's really effective. So I might start that over again. I'd also like to focus on a memory palace. I've been thinking a lot more about that here recently, especially watching like Hannibal the Cannibal on Netflix. One of the things that he does, even though he's a psychopath, is he has like this tremendous memory palace that he talks about. And so he's basically stuck in a cell, but from a mental perspective, he's traveling the world in a sense. So I found that really interesting. I might experiment with that, maybe experiment with a little bit of lucid dreaming again, get back into that.
Yeah, I used to mess around with that memory palace thing when I was just like a random skill I thought would be fun, is try to memorize a deck of cards. And I got to half a deck of cards before I just moved on and stopped working on it. But that was part of it, was like that visual, spatial constructing an area in your mind and then placing people in it
Mm-hmm.
and in an order.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you get better and better at it over time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think probably one of the worst parts about the quarantine the first time around was the fact that all the gyms were closed. And it looks like they're going to do that again, because I think at least what they're going to try to do is have outdoor only workout classes and stuff.
Mm.
But I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to lift weights when you're doing an outdoor. I mean, they're not going to move the weight room outside, especially here in Colorado because it snows a lot. It just snowed a foot, a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm. So
that won't happen. So it's going to be a matter of like figuring out a smarter way to work out, because on the last one I would walk a lot. That was helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Do a lot of long walks out in nature, and it's crazy how it seemed like that was. I don't know, that lasted so long.
Mm-hmm.
Like this year's been so weird. But I remember it snowing. It was snowing last time. In March.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like doing a lot of walks in the snow up to Niwot, and I mean that wasn't bad. That was pretty nice. But I think what we're going to do differently, we were just talking about it earlier this morning, was we've got the office here, and potentially constructing some sort of makeshift gym here in the office would be good. So I guess we'll look on Craigslist and see if we can find any power racks or something that people are trying to sell from the last go around, because everyone on earth like bought out every piece of gym equipment you could think of last time.
Mm-hmm.
And gym equipment was one of the fastest growing categories in sales this year just because of that. But I remember I bought like one of those X3 bars, and it took a long time. Actually, I actually purchased like several different things from different companies, but then they would email me later saying like, oh, we actually oversold this, and then they would refund it. So then finally I got that X3 bar, and it took like 6 weeks before I actually got any sort of training equipment in the mail. So I think it sounds like people on the team here, everyone kind of bought something, and we can just bring it all here in the office and have a place to go to do workouts.
Heck yeah. I'm excited for that. So what do you think was one of the most effective ways to utilize your time that you did during quarantine, and then that you will do during this lockdown if it happens?
Work. Got a lot of work done. It was actually like there's a silver lining to it for UMZU, because we grew quite a bit during that time. Got a lot of work done. The team learned how to work remotely really well. So that was really good. And it's helpful that we have, a pretty lean team, and that we're an essential business. So the warehouse was still able to run. Shipping times got pretty delayed, which kind of sucked. And it's going to probably be worse this time because we're, coupled with the holiday season at the same time. So hopefully, just to all the customers, just keep that in mind. We get all the shipments out as fast as we can, a lot of them same day. But pretty much all of them within 24 hours of placing the order. So if you're experiencing delays, it's really on the end of the freight providers, FedEx, UPS, USPS. They've all been pretty slammed throughout this whole process. But yeah, I think like working is definitely, it's kind of nice when you get into a pattern. It took a while to get into the pattern at home, but when you get into it, it's pretty productive. And then another thing I'm going to do is get back into painting, in terms of like skill development, because it's kind of good. It's good for like stress management. It's good for taking your mind off of other things and just kind of zoning out and creating something. So I want to start leveling up my painting skills. Heck
yeah. I noticed that ever since I started some of this SEO stuff that I've been working on, the days in between Monday and Friday just kind of disappeared. And like I pretty much go to sleep on Monday and then wake up and it's Friday at this point. So I think the skill development is something that's really effective whenever you're looking to expedite time in a sense.
Yeah, because you get kind of lost in learning the new thing, and it's exciting, and like there's a lot to go through, a lot of courses and whatnot, figure out. I think nutrition wise, it's important to a lot of people like gained what they called the quarantine 15, and because a lot of people are doing takeout and probably snacking a lot more if you're just sitting at home. But in general, it's probably just a good skill to learn for remote work. Like if you're working from home anyways, is like, don't just wander into the kitchen all day and like grab stuff. I ended up actually losing 12 pounds during the quarantine just because I just focused on like simplicity. Also, a lot of it was probably just not weightlifting, because I noticed since I've gotten back into the gym, I'm putting on muscle pretty fast again. But you know, it's not impossible to lose weight while you're just stuck in your house, especially if you get to walk a lot.
Yeah. I would say also make sure to take steps to reduce serotonin levels, because there's going to be less sunlight with winter coming around. Plus, if you're stuck inside, that's going to make it even worse. So any kind of red light therapy or incandescent bulb exposure that you can get would be really beneficial for mitigating serotonin production and getting rid of it as much as possible. Letting natural light into your apartment or your house or what have you be really effective.
Yeah, I'm going to get back into doing daily smoothies too. Just get that easily digestible nutrient load every day. Which, you know, especially in the winter can kind of be like not the most appetizing thing because it's cold. You kind of more gravitate toward comfort foods or hot stuff. But I think it's really important. I always feel really good when I have a smoothie.
Heck yeah. What is the first recipe you're going to try as far as smoothie goes?
Oh, I just keep them pretty simple. Like, you know, just frozen fruit. Like, get some good, I like those mixes where they have the organic berries and then something like pineapple and mango in it. Some sort of sweeter citrusy type of thing. Then, yeah, just do that. We've got the new chocolate collagen coming out, so I'm going to be putting that in there. Because the normally I just use the unflavored collagen, which is totally fine. But the chocolate one's going to add a good, nice flavor to the whole thing.
Yeah. What do you think are some of the repercussions that are going to happen from another lockdown? Because I feel like one of the things that we might experience is an increase in crazy people. Like, yeah. For real?
Well, we've seen that quite a bit this year. I've been thoroughly surprised at how irrational everyone is. But I think a lot of it does come from, like, if you're not socially interacting, stuck in your house, if people just watch the news all day or go on Reddit all day, then it can kind of drive you insane. It's you know, it's good to like keep up with what's happening, but not being obsessed about it. I think you're right. Like, there's gonna also be like a lot of potential rebellion against it more openly, because last time around it was so unprecedented. Like, no one knew what to do, because this sort of things never happen. You know, stay at home, get locked in your house, and then everyone thought this virus, like, oh, if you walk outside, like, you're gonna get the virus, you know. And they were saying certain things like, oh, it's coming in on Amazon packages, or it just goes and floats around in the air and you can catch it any way. I think this time around people are going to be a little more skeptical. People were skeptical before, but they're going to be even more skeptical and more rebellious against any sort of lockdown, which would be interesting. Hopefully it doesn't turn into, I mean, it's also being timed with the presidential election. That's going to probably be pretty crazy here coming up.
Also, one thing that they'll be able to do in a little over a month is read the new book.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
You'll be able to read my new book. So you can take a couple days, kill a couple days reading the book.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that one to come out.
Yep. Shooting to get that one finished up, and then you'll be able to get it on Amazon. We'll let everyone know on the email list and the text message notifications, Facebook groups, that sort of thing. So make sure you got your eyes open on that. It'll probably be after Black Friday, that'll be released. But it also would make a good gift, for Christmas. Yeah, I'm excited to finally get that out. And then we're working on the Netflix show pitches as well. So unfortunately, that takes a lot of time in terms of filming a Netflix show. But that would probably be more like 2022 when you'll be able to watch that. So hopefully you're not still quarantined in 2022. But if you are, you got something to look forward to.
We can also look forward to like the mobility program and Rob's bodyweight stuff that he has coming out. That's going to be really beneficial to utilize during this time.
Yeah, you're right. Bodyweight course be a good time to focus on that sort of stuff. Because he when he was doing that and making that course, and during the last quarantine, he got really strong on that stuff, just doing at-home workouts. So we can definitely focus a lot on that in terms of helping people stay fit and get fitter, get even more fit while you're stuck in your house.
It's very extremely robust too. Like he has so much stuff in there. It's awesome.
Yeah, and that's in Umzu Fit for anyone that's wondering. You can go over to the website and look for Umzu Fit and just sign up for that. You can get access to that course along with all the other courses that we have. And then a really great community in there. It's like a forum. There's different forums. There's different discussion groups and that sort of thing.
Heck yeah. So what other kinds of things do you think people can focus on during this time?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be good to just frame it in a way, instead of getting mad and depressed, just try to be positive about it and just look at it in a way that, like, how can I use this time to learn skills, learn or sharpen skills, get fitter than I was before, be healthier than I was, sleep more, have less stress. Like, I think it's good to that's what I'm going to do, is just set these types of goals. Like, how can I work in each of these areas every day and just come out the other side better instead of, worse, which the first time around, like, a lot of people had a lot of problems with certain things, like alcoholism went up, drug abuse went up. People gained a lot of weight, got unhealthy. And, it's understandable that would be the response in something so unprecedented. But again, if it happens twice, just take what you learned from the first time for the second time and try to make it much better. Instead of falling into certain traps, just, actively or proactively build on certain things to make your health better, your personal life better, your skills better, your career better. I think that's the way to go on the second trip around the sun.
I think one thing that we're probably fortunate for is that we both live alone. So it's pretty easy for us to be able to do this for ourselves. What kind of tips would you give someone who lives with a significant other or has roommates or something like that?
I would work together with that person or those people. Just be like, here's what I want to focus on. And I'll bet you could have a lot of buy-in, especially if you like who you live with. You guys could do it together. Let's make our lives better during this. Let's, set down schedules. I think it's important to have some sort of scheduling throughout the day. If you're fortunate enough to have a house or like a property, I wish I had a property, then you have more space to work with. You could have like a little office, somewhere else, like in a casita or a barn or whatever, like set up different areas so you don't feel like you're just stuck in one spot. Living in an apartment or a condo is a little different because you have nowhere to go. But yeah, I would try to get the buy-in from whoever you're living with to like just work on that stuff. Like, lay out 4 or 5 different things you want to get better at. Like, I want to be better at stress management. So doing something like the FitMind app every day, just meditating every day, sleeping more, focusing on good nutrition, that can all help with stress management. Just, chunk it down like that. And then whether you live alone or with someone else, you can do it, just work on it every day. Now, the other thing is that, and I'm sure people listening have kids. I don't have kids, so I don't know if I can give like super good advice on that. But that does add another element to the stress levels, probably, because your kids are home all day. They have to do homeschool / remote learning. In that sense, I'd lean toward the same type of advice, though. Just be regimented. The chaos will come if you just don't have a plan, really. Focus on the nutrition, focus on sleep, and not falling into bad habits.
Get them to work out with you too. I feel like that would be extremely beneficial for everyone in the family, especially if you started developing that habit at a young age. I mean, that's going to benefit them for the rest of their life.
Yeah, and I would definitely focus on, staying positive around your kids, because they can, they're like little sponges, and they would easily like soak up the negativity, and it might stress them out, might make them behave poorly. So just if you stay positive, make it as fun as it could be for them, then that's probably the way to go.
Yeah. On a completely different note, I think that people should experiment with things that they've never experimented with before. So, like, if you want to do quote unquote biohacking or something like that, like, just dive into it. Because, I mean, you have all the time to record as much data as you can, pay attention to yourself as much as you can, and actually see the benefits that are being reaped from a lot of the stuff that you might not notice in a lot of other circumstances. So I think that would be really interesting.
Maybe allow yourself to be bored too. I think that's one of the hardest things for me. I hate being bored. So I'll go and try to avoid it at all costs. But it doesn't always get you into like the best circumstances if you're just trying to avoid being bored. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. So yeah, just diving into something new. Probably for most people, there's something where they're like, I've really been wanting to do this, and I just haven't had the time or the energy to do X, Y, Z. Just do it. Like, focus on that. And then if you feel like you're going toward bad habits to avoid boredom, then just try just sitting there in the boredom and maybe just watch a movie or something, instead of developing these bad habits.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's interesting to observe yourself whenever you have an absence of stimulation too. It's kind of fascinating.
So anything else? I think we kind of covered a gamut of stuff. Hopefully, if anybody that's listening to this has any other ideas, leave them in the Facebook group, the Thermo Diet community group. Let us know. We could start a thread in there of, what would you do differently if you got a quarantine again?
Yeah, that would be really good. Sweet. I think that's all that I can think of, honestly.
Cool. Well, thank you all for listening. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and drop us a review. That would mean a lot to us. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you haven't already, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you want us to cover a different topic.